Have you noticed your elderly parent or grandparent seems different lately? Maybe they're moving slower, eating less, or just don't seem like themselves anymore. Most families brush these changes off as normal aging, but what if I told you these seemingly small shifts could be your loved one's body sending you a message, a quiet warning that time may be running shorter than you think? The truth is, our bodies rarely shut down overnight. Instead, they often begin preparing for the end months, sometimes even a full year before death occurs. The problem is, these early warning signs are so subtle that most people miss them entirely. It's only later, when looking back, that families realize the signs were there all along. But by then, it's too late to prepare, too late for those important conversations, and too late to make the most of the precious time remaining. In this video, we're going to explore 5 critical warning signs that often appear in the months leading up to an elderly person's passing. Some of these signs might be changes you've already noticed but dismissed. Others might be so gradual that they've escaped your attention completely. But understanding these signals early gives you something invaluable: time. Time to provide better care, time to have meaningful conversations, and most importantly, time to ensure your loved one's final chapter is filled with comfort, dignity, and peace. Stay with me until the end, because recognizing these 5 signs could help you transform what might otherwise be a difficult, unprepared goodbye into a period of connection, closure, and love. When you know what to look for, you won't be caught off guard. Instead, you'll be empowered to make every remaining day count. Number 1. Unexplained weight loss. The first and often most overlooked sign is gradual but persistent weight loss. At first, it might seem innocent enough: clothes fitting a bit looser, a belt that needs an extra notch, or comments about not being as hungry as usual. Many families actually feel relieved, thinking, well, at least they're finally losing that extra weight the doctor was worried about. But here's what's really happening. When an elderly person begins losing weight without trying, it's rarely a good sign. Their body is no longer processing nutrients the way it should. Muscle mass is disappearing faster than normal, and their digestive system is starting to slow down significantly. The appetite changes are particularly telling. Food that once brought joy now seems tasteless or unappealing. They might start leaving half their meal untouched, claiming they're just not that hungry anymore. This isn't stubbornness or pickiness, it's a physiological shift. As the body begins its gradual shutdown, it stops sending those hunger signals to the brain as frequently. What makes this especially concerning is that weight loss often accelerates. What starts as a few pounds here and there can quickly become 10, 15, or even 20 pounds over just a few months. The person becomes noticeably frail, their face appears gaunt, and simple activities that were once easy now leave them exhausted. Some families try desperately to reverse this by offering favorite foods, buying expensive supplements, or even considering feeding tubes. But when the body is preparing for its final transition, forcing nutrition often does more harm than good. Instead, focus on comfort foods that are easy to swallow, staying hydrated, and making mealtimes pleasant rather than stressful. If you're noticing significant weight loss in an elderly loved one, especially if it's happening despite your best efforts to encourage eating, pay attention. This isn't just about physical appearance. It's about the body sending a clear message that its priorities are shifting. And understanding that message now can help you provide better care in the months ahead. Number 2. Profound, unrelenting fatigue. The second warning sign is a deep, persistent exhaustion that goes far beyond normal tiredness. This isn't about feeling sleepy after a big meal or needing a nap after a busy day. This is a bone-deep fatigue that makes even the simplest tasks feel monumental. You might notice your loved one struggling to get out of bed in the morning, even after a full night's sleep. Walking to the kitchen feels like climbing a mountain. Conversations that once energized them now seem to drain their battery completely. They might start sleeping 12, 14, or even 16 hours a day and still wake up feeling exhausted. What's happening is that their body is redirecting its limited energy toward essential functions only. The heart isn't pumping as efficiently, so less oxygen is reaching their muscles and brain. Their metabolism is slowing down dramatically, which means they have less fuel to power normal activities. Perhaps most heartbreaking is watching someone who was once independent and active become unable to do things they've done their whole lives. They might stop cooking, abandon hobbies they loved, or avoid social situations not because they don't want to participate, but because they simply don't have the energy. This can create a painful cycle. As they become more tired, they become less active. As they become less active, they become weaker. As they become weaker, everything requires more effort, making them even more tired. Family members often try to encourage more activity, thinking it will help build their strength back up, but this usually backfires and leaves the person feeling even more depleted. The key is recognizing that this fatigue isn't something they can push through or overcome with willpower. Their body is conserving energy for vital functions, and fighting against this natural process only causes distress. Instead, honor their need for rest, make their environment as comfortable as possible, and focus on quality time rather than quantity of activities. If you're still finding value in this video, please comment too below to let me know you're following along, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss content that could help you care for the people you love most. Number 3. Mental fog and social withdrawal. The third sign often catches families completely off guard because it affects the mind rather than just the body. You might notice that someone who was always sharp and quick-witted starts forgetting things more often, getting confused about familiar places, or struggling to follow conversations they would have easily understood before. This cognitive decline happens because the brain, like every other organ, needs a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. As circulation weakens and the body's systems slow down, the brain doesn't get what it needs to operate at full capacity. The result is increasing confusion, memory problems, and difficulty processing information. But it's not just about forgetting names or misplacing keys. You might notice them losing track of time, forgetting what day it is, or becoming disoriented in places they've known for decades. They might repeat the same questions over and over, not remembering that they just asked 5 minutes ago. Even more challenging for families is the emotional withdrawal that often accompanies cognitive decline. Your loved one might start speaking less, avoiding conversations, or seeming indifferent to things that once brought them joy. They're not trying to be difficult or antisocial. Their brain simply can't process social interaction the same way anymore. Some days might be better than others, which can give false hope. They might have a morning where they seem almost like their old self, only to become confused and withdrawn by afternoon. This isn't unusual. It's often how cognitive decline progresses in the final stages of life. The most important thing to remember is that even when their words fade or they seem disconnected, they can still feel your presence and your love. Speak gently, offer reassurance, and don't try to correct their confusion or bring them back to reality. Instead, meet them where they are and create an atmosphere of safety and peace. Number 4. Frequent illness and poor recovery. The fourth warning sign is a dramatic decline in the immune system's ability to protect and heal the body. Someone who rarely got sick before might suddenly seem to catch every bug that goes around. What used to be minor colds now turn into serious respiratory infections. Small cuts take weeks to heal instead of days. Bruises linger for months. This happens because the body is no longer able to mount an effective defense against infections or repair damaged tissue efficiently. The immune system is weakening, circulation is slowing down, and the body's natural healing mechanisms are starting to fail. Pneumonia becomes a particular concern, as does urinary tract infections, skin infections, and oral health problems. What's especially challenging is that these infections often don't present the way they do in younger people. Instead of a high fever, an elderly person might simply become more confused, more tired, or lose their appetite. Sometimes confusion is the first and only sign of a serious infection. Chronic wounds become another red flag. If you notice that minor injuries aren't healing properly, keep reopening, or seem to be getting worse instead of better, it could indicate that circulation is seriously compromised. The body simply isn't able to deliver the oxygen and nutrients needed for proper healing. For those who are less mobile, pressure sores become a significant risk and can quickly become serious, life-threatening infections if not carefully managed. Even with the best care, wounds that would have healed easily in the past now become ongoing challenges. What's most difficult for families is watching repeated trips to the doctor, multiple rounds of antibiotics, and treatments that seem less and less effective over time. At some point, the focus often needs to shift from trying to cure every infection to keeping your loved one comfortable and managing symptoms rather than fighting every battle. This doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing when the body is telling you that its ability to fight back is diminishing and adjusting your approach accordingly. Number 5. Changes in breathing and circulation. The final warning sign involves the cardiovascular and respiratory systems, essentially how the heart and lungs are functioning. You might notice that your loved one breathes differently than before, perhaps more slowly, more shallowly, or with longer pauses between breaths. Sometimes their breathing becomes irregular, speeding up and then slowing down in an unusual pattern. Medical professionals call one particular pattern Cheney-Stokes respiration, where breathing alternates between deep, rapid breaths and long pauses. These changes can be subtle at first, but become more noticeable over time. Circulation changes are equally telling. Their hands, feet, nose and ears might frequently feel cold to the touch. You might notice that their skin looks pale or even slightly bluish, especially around their fingernails and lips. This happens because the heart isn't pumping as effectively as before, so the body prioritizes blood flow to vital organs and reduces circulation to the extremities. Even minimal exertion might leave them short of breath. Simply sitting up in bed, walking a few steps, or having a conversation might cause them to become winded. They might start breathing through their mouth more often or need to stop frequently to catch their breath during activities that were once effortless. In some cases, fluid begins to accumulate in the lungs, causing a persistent cough, gurgling sounds when breathing, or a feeling of tightness in the chest. This can make lying flat uncomfortable, so they might prefer to sleep propped up on multiple pillows or in a recliner. For families, these breathing changes can be particularly frightening because they seem so immediate and urgent. It's natural to want to help them breathe better or to worry that they're in distress. But often, these changes are simply the body's way of conserving energy and preparing for its final transition. While there are sometimes medications or oxygen therapy that can provide comfort, the focus typically shifts toward making breathing as easy as possible rather than trying to restore normal breathing patterns. Keeping the room at a comfortable temperature, using a humidifier, and offering small sips of water can all help ease discomfort. If you're still with me and finding this information helpful, please comment 5 below and consider subscribing for more content that helps you navigate these challenging but important conversations about end-of-life care. Bringing it all together. As we reach the end of this discussion, let's take a moment to reflect on these 5 critical warning signs: unexplained weight loss, profound fatigue, cognitive decline and withdrawal, frequent infections with poor healing, and changes in breathing and circulation. These signs rarely appear all at once, and they may not always be obvious in the beginning. But when you start noticing these patterns, especially multiple signs occurring together, it's often an indication that the body is beginning its gradual preparation for the end of life. Understanding these signs isn't about creating fear or resignation. It's about empowerment. When you recognize what's happening, you can shift from trying to fight the inevitable to focusing on what really matters: comfort, dignity, connection, and love. This knowledge gives you the opportunity to have important conversations while your loved one is still able to participate. It allows you to make decisions about care while considering their wishes and values. Most importantly, it helps you treasure the time you have left together, creating meaningful moments rather than being caught off guard by a sudden decline. If you're currently noticing these signs in someone you love, remember that you're not alone in this journey. Millions of families have walked this difficult path before you, and while it's never easy, knowing what to expect can provide a sense of peace and purpose. The goal isn't to extend life at any cost, but to ensure that whatever time remains is filled with as much comfort, dignity, and love as possible. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone approaching the end of their life isn't medical intervention, but simply our presence, our understanding, and our commitment to honoring their journey. Thank you for taking the time to learn about these important warning signs. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share one insight that resonated with you today, or tell us how you plan to use this information in your own life. Your thoughts and experiences matter, and they help create a community of support for others facing similar challenges. If this video provided value for you, please like it, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others who might benefit from this information. Your support helps us continue creating content that matters, content that helps people navigate some of life's most challenging moments with greater understanding and compassion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring topics that help you care better for the people who matter most in your life.